Welcome to Chairman's Corner with Caldwell County Board of Commissioners Chairman Randy Church. Welcome, Randy.
Well, it's good to be here again.
Let's see, you met Monday night. Today's just Tuesday when
Right.
we're filming this,
Yep.
so kind of hot off the presses.
We're hot off the press this afternoon. So, but we had a couple reports last night that was pretty in depth, and we enjoyed getting those. But we did do a proclamation the first thing out of the gate, and that was for honoring Black History Month. So we were pleased to be able to do that, and recognition of our African American community and all that they have contributed through our history. So we certainly appreciate that opportunity. And then again, we had a report that came in from Anna Martin, our health director, our 2022 health department report. And so it was a very good report, a lot of in-depth things that's going on at the health department. And certainly with the pandemic and all the things that they've had to go through the past several years. But probably one of the biggest things, and we'll highlight, is the reaccreditation. I currently sit on that health board as the chair there, and so that's been a big topic for the past year, really, having to do the reaccreditation. And it's a 4-year cycle that we have to be reaccredited. But that means a great deal for our residents and the folks that go there to the health department, meeting the certain guidelines and standards that are set by the state.
And I think our health department offers a lot of services our community's not aware of. There's a clinic there, and
a dental clinic too, and that was one thing I thought was interesting through our accreditation. They were very pleased with our dental clinic and the services that we're providing, especially in the pediatric dental care there. And there's been several folks that gotten help. We're also getting adult care there that's coming through Helping Hands, I think Anna reported last night. So that's good and a benefit to our residents and the folks that really need that dental care.
So lots and lots of good things going on at the health department.
Yes, ma'am.
And we also heard from Chief Dino DiBernardi.
And Dino DiBernardi was with us last night as well, and he had a 26 or 28 page report that he put together. But probably one of the most interesting things, he said he had been the division chief there over emergency services and that group for 7 years, and this is the first report that he had actually put together for us. So we think that's beneficial for us as well as the residents of the county. And he highlighted a lot of good things that are going on in our EMS and in the division there. With the Fire Marshal's Office of Emergency Management, it's a multifaceted approach. So
it is. Dino has the EMS, which we hear a lot, and I think a lot of people in the community associate Dino's name with our EMS. But he also has emergency management, fire marshal, and telecommunications. Communications
is under his division now. So that's he's got a lot of folks working there, and a lot of folks that are meeting the needs of our residents in the county. But one of the highlights, and I thought was worth mentioning it again, is he talked about the cardiac arrest and the saves that we're having there, and nationally the standard, how we're meeting that and exceeding that on a national standard here in Caldwell County. And I think that's a big benefit for our residents, and especially in a cardiac arrest situation. And then we've been publicizing it a lot, but the giving of the blood now in the field is a big thing too. And we certainly appreciate our folks there looking forward to provide that and to be able to get that into the field, which is ultimately going to save lives.
And they've actually had one that I'm aware of, one save with the blood on the truck. So that's a huge deal.
It's huge. And always before, when you'd have to wait till you got to the hospital to get that infusion of actual blood. So we're carrying that into the field now. And that is big, especially in a traumatic injury or a patient that has suffered from something traumatic. So.
And I noted last night that the response times are lower than the national average,
Right.
which is
And
really good.
That's a testament to the EMS and first responder program in the county, and that certainly assists us with all the volunteer fire departments, municipal departments too, that are responding on the medical calls, and so that's a big benefit, getting somebody on the scene. I think his average was just a touch over 7 minutes. And when you're in a life-threatening situation, knowing somebody's that close and going to be there, it seems like an eternity, but 7 minutes is moving pretty fast to be able to get help to folks.
Especially when you look at the size of our county,
Yeah.
and we've got some pretty remote areas in our
Yes,
county.
we do. And I know I'm from the Collinsville area, and we got a lot of remote area in Collinsville. And so to get somebody on average to somebody that's suffering a medical emergency in Collinsville in 7 minutes is phenomenal. And so we certainly appreciate the efforts of all of our folks in emergency response.
So, yeah, huge shout out to them.
Yeah. So we also had Josh Angle come, our tax administrator, and he presented, as is required by state law, the delinquent taxes for those in the year 2022. And so he asked to be able to publicize that, and I had an opportunity earlier today on the radio, and I'll say it here, that if you don't want your name in the paper, you can come in and pay your taxes and it won't show up there. But Josh will be glad to take your money and remove your name. But if not, he's going to advertise for that pretty quickly. And we had over $2 million of unpaid taxes that haven't been paid so far. And so we try to collect that, and that helps all of the folks that do pay taxes to make sure that the ones that are delinquent and can't pay it, we can set up payment plans and various things with that, but it's just all in an effort to collect the money.
And our tax department has a very good rate of collecting taxes.
Yeah, it's in the 90s, 90 percentile, so it's certainly a good division, and they work hard at that, and so kudos goes to them, because as we know, it takes money to run government. Unfortunately, we don't have fees and things that we can assess. We're just doing taxes, and so we have to have those in order to be able to function.
Right. If we move on down to what was in the consent agenda last night, we had several items.
Several items in the consent agenda, and again, we say that the consent agenda is those items that are usual and customary in moving money around, but there was a couple things that I thought were of importance in our consent agenda, and one of those was the resolution authorizing the conveyance of county property to a nonprofit organization. So we had 3 volunteer fire departments that had requested vehicles, and oftentimes our vehicles are coming out of service at the sheriff's office, and those vehicles are well maintained, they're in good serviceable order, and many times the volunteer fire departments would like to have those in order to be able to put them in a first response situation or something, whatever they need. And so we can't give them to them, but we can sell them to them for $1. And so Kings Creek, Valmead, and Hudson are receiving those vehicles, and we'll be putting them in service soon, I would assume. So, but we did adopt that resolution. We're always happy to help again with our volunteer departments, and it just keeps that equipment functioning and in a response mode for the Caldwell County folks that paid for it to begin with.
A really good use of some of our property that we can no longer use, but
Right.
others can.
And I will say that many times we circulate those vehicles within our county. So if DSS or the health department or building and maintenance needed a vehicle that's coming offline, many times we will repurpose those vehicles and move them because they're moving from that emergency response into just a normal and customary use. And so there's many of those vehicles that we utilize that way. And it just keeps us from having to buy new vehicles always in some of our other departments that can utilize them. So we were happy to do that, though, for our volunteer departments. And then we done a reallocation of some state funds through emergency management, and my understanding they were going to use that to buy a drone. And so many people are now experiencing the use of drones and what they can do in the field, especially in an emergency situation and or a natural disaster. And so emergency management, I'm sure, will be using that in any of the wildfires or search and rescue, just many areas that they can use these drones. And so we were happy to be able to see them purchase that too.
And they already have a drone program, and I'm sure this is just stepping up what they already have, which will be awesome.
Yes, it will. And with the advancement in technology, you know, there's drones that now will last longer in the air, and the camera systems are so much more in tune and better. So we constantly have to upgrade our equipment too. So.
Right, and our drone pilots are FAA certified. They've gone through all the proper channels to get all the certifications. I can't even begin to think through any of that, but they've done it.
Well, it's pretty extensive to become certified, and so we appreciate them willing to do that. I know we've had some unspent money for our Restart grant funds, and so we also moved some money over there for them to be able to continue on. Many times we get caught in a transfer of funding from year to year, and I think that's what happened in this case. We got to the end of the fiscal year, and we needed to move that money so they could have it in the upcoming year. So.
And Restart is our program that helps, I guess we could say, fight abuse or help people who are in a situation where drug abuse.
That's right, and they're working closely with community paramedics, and those folks are being identified now that might be what we term as a user or somebody that continually repeats the use and drug overdose. And the opioid money from the state is also helping us with that program. So what Restart's doing is an intervention, if you will. They're giving people the resources to be able to get some help and trying to follow them through those resources, even to the point of outsourcing them into medical facilities that they can actually get some help. And so we're very proud of that program, the saves that's already been documented. And so we had a report from them at our Board of Health meeting, and we'll probably have them on at a county commission meeting before long as well, so we can get their report and the full impact of what that program is.
And as a board, you expanded that program. I don't remember when the vote was. If it was,
I think just November, December.
It's fairly recently that you have expanded that program.
We've expanded that and got another couple people in that program as well. And they're working again. They're there at Health and Human Services building, so they're closely tied with the Health Department and DSS. And there's some counseling that's opportunities and available there. So it's a big step forward for Caldwell County and what we're doing there, and trying to help folks instead of just turning a blind eye, if you will. And so we're really being proactive in that.
Yes.
We had to replace a boiler at the public library. Many of us remember the cold weather we had there in December. There was something that happened that caused a power failure, and that boiler was one of those outside units. And my understanding that it actually froze and caused a catastrophic failure. And so we're replacing that now with a technological advancement in boilers and moving it inside the building. So that'll never happen again. And Train has been very good to help us with that. And Brian Davis and his staff there. So I think they actually are installing that boiler and have done some major work over there, but it was good to be able to replace that. And I think we used some ARPA money for that as well. So that again has been a big benefit in that funding stream.
And I think for our library patrons, our people who come and visit Cooperative Extension, anybody that visits that building will be very appreciative.
Yes, ma'am. And then our county clerk, Abby Rich, is working on getting our codes updated. And we have noticed and through her research found out that many of those codes had been antiquated, hadn't been updated in numerous years. And so we're now getting all of our codes updated, located in one central location. We're going to have some new code books that will actually be printed, but the biggest part of that is it's going to be hosted on our website and various places that you can be able to get to those codes electronically. So that's a big benefit for folks that are trying to find out what they can build and where they can build and how they can build it. And so those codes are pretty important.
They're very important, and you'll also be able to search the codes.
Yep. So, and she's done a tremendous job and is continuing to do that to get all of this thing kind of straightened out for us.
She's been amazing with the ordinances, and I will tell you, as a department head, she's held us to the fire. She's like, you've got ordinances to be reviewed.
Right.
And so we've all had to pitch in and say, yes, this is still valid, and no, that we've not done that in 20 years.
Yeah. So but I'm very pleased that we're moving along in the right direction with that too. And then we got word that we're applying for a community waste reduction and recycling grant. I think that application is for $30,000 as I understood it. So
since I have a little insight on this, it is for $30,000. It's to help promote recycling in the county. So hoping to see an improvement in our recycling efforts.
Well, and a lot of folks don't realize, but we have hired a new person that is now pushing the recycling side of things for us, and we were able to accomplish that in the end of last year, and we brought on Mallory, and she's doing an excellent job. And so I know she's starting to get into the schools. I was sharing with some folks in another meeting recently, but again, the commissioners have been very proactive in this and trying to get the message out. And by going into the schools and talking to the students in a third, fourth, fifth grade level, wherever she can get in there at, we hope that it'll make a difference in our roadside litter and all the things that are going on within our community, because we have spent a lot of money trying to keep our roads clean. A lot of folks may or may not realize what we're doing there, but we've actually contracted with an outside agency that is going through and picking up our roadside litter. And the state doesn't do it anymore on the secondary roads, so we're responsible for that, unfortunately. And so we're trying to do the best that we can with the taxpayer dollars in that. And so very important program, but Mallory's been pushing that. I think she's going to have maybe some signage coming up at our convenience sites with this grant.
With this grant, signage at convenience sites so folks know your recycled plastic goes here, your cardboard goes, and it's very clearly marked. And another piece of it will be for education, reaching out into the community. Yeah. Because I think all of us could learn something about recycling. I know because Mallory works on my team, I have learned a lot about recycling from her. And while proofreading some of her projects, I'm like, I didn't know that. Yeah. So there's a lot to learn, and a lot will be coming out about that soon.
So we're very happy to again be pushing that forward, and hopefully we can get that grant and it'll help us with that process. The sheriff, we reallocated a little funding for him and to increase his investigative funds from the controlled substance. So he the benefactor of, I guess, getting illicit and illegal drugs off of the highway, if you will, he gets some money into a separate fund to allow him to be able to investigate and do those things, but he also can utilize that funding stream in a different location. He's going to use that, I think, on his investigative side. So we were happy to be able to do that too. Our sheriff is very proactive in trying to get the drugs off the street, and we're pleased with anything we can do to help him to accomplish that, because we know that's the root of a lot of our trouble in our county. We also got some SCIF funds that were awarded to our Register of Deeds, Wayne Rash, and he's using that for some record restoration. He's kept records in the Register of Deeds office goes back to the inception of our county. And so some of those records are handwritten, and we're moving all of that, and he has been excellent in trying to get all that to an electronic state so that they will be housed and accessible again through the computer and various mediums there. But he's been very proactive in that, so we again are trying to help him with that and allow him that opportunity. And I know you recently had something, but I'm still going to throw a plug here that our Register of Deeds office is doing the passports now. And if folks watch this and you need a passport, you need to come see the Register of Deeds office, and they'll be glad to help you with that.
And they have been very busy with passports.
Yeah.
They started the 1st of December is really when they got
Right.
kicked off, and they've already done about 100. So if you really want a passport, call and make an appointment, Register of Deeds office,
Yeah.
because they are busy.
They are busy, and there's a lot of folks that need those. And I know when I got one a few years ago, I had to travel out of the county to do that. So I appreciate the fact that Wayne decided to help do that for our county and our residents, and just the fact that we could help him fund it and get it started, I thought was a great program. So
Well, and one thing I like about Wayne having it is if you were born here in Caldwell County or you need a marriage certificate and you were married here in Caldwell County,
Right.
he can help you access
he can
that.
help you with that immediately. So that's great. We also approved our audit contract for the fiscal year. Each year the county has to be audited. Martin and Starnes Associates does that audit for us, and so we approved that contract for the coming year, and they'll be conducting that audit to typically start after the June 30th end of our year. So, but we have to do that. We're required by the state to do that, so we're always in pretty good shape, but we're happy to be able to bring that third party in and make sure that we are. We had the health department purchase of the Tiger Connect. Again, sitting on the health board, I know a little bit about that, and that we've got some folks that now we will be issuing, my understanding, of a text cell phone to, and those folks will be able to text and get appointments set up and various things through the health department with those cell phones. And this money, this approved grant, is going to enable them to be able to access their medical records, be able to talk with nurses and various folks within the health department. So a big benefit for those people that don't normally have that opportunity. And I know I carry a cell phone, many of us do, and it's become a way of communication now, and especially through text messaging. So it's pretty good to be able to approve that.
I would wager with your children and maybe your oldest granddaughter that texting is probably the way you communicate.
Yep, it is a whole lot. So we also approved some additional state funding for DSS, crisis intervention, and the health department for the tuberculosis battle, and then appointment of the 2023 Equalization and Review Board. Those folks have to be reported annually, and reappointed it is, and so we've got that in place now. And then we went to some board appointments, and I know you wanted to talk a little bit about that.
I want to talk a little bit about board appointments, because I don't know if it's every month, but several times a year you're making appointments to various boards. And I just thought some of our viewers might want to know a little bit more about that, and if they're interested in a board, how maybe they can become part of that board.
Well, and that application is listed on our website if you would be interested in a board, and I think our boards are listed there as well. And so if there's a board that you have an interest in, but we certainly have numerous boards and committees that help us function within the county. We've got an authority at the airport authority, and we've got a board there. Of course, the health board that I sit on, the DSS board. There's just a lot of boards, and we're all the time looking for folks that would staff and fill in those positions quality folks, if you will, and somebody that can be a part of those boards and commissions. And I will say, I'll throw a plug for my health board here. We've got a few open positions on our health board, but we're state mandated that we have to have a certified engineer, a PE, on our board. And so if somebody out there is watching this and you're a PE and you would like to be a benefit to the county, apply for that board and we'll be able to put you on there. We also need an optician. We need, I think we've got our veterinarian slot filled now, but that has been a quandary at times. And we're mandated to have a dentist, and so health physicians, and so a lot of these positions that we're struggling to fill because people are busy, and it's hard to get some of these folks to be able to serve on these boards, but they're very important to make things function correctly. So we appreciate anybody that's interested in a board to fill out an application, and if you see something that you'd like to be a part of, please let us know.
Definitely let us know, because...
Yeah, well, you can call Abby, our clerk, and she can point you in the right direction too. And just ask for the county clerk if you call here to the county office. So maybe Eric can put that number up for us.
Eric can put that number for us. And I think Abby answers a lot of our calls that come into the county. And we greatly appreciate her and her doing that. So
we did appoint Christy Money to the Caldwell County Council on Aging, and that's one of our boards. Micah Kelly was our plat review officer, and then we reappointed Bruce Roberts to our airport authority. And so again, if anybody has an interest in any of these boards, just let us know.
Randy, you said it was a fairly short meeting.
Yeah. But
there was a lot accomplished, especially when you look through the consent agenda and all those things.
Yeah, and a lot of things that have to be, again, normal and customary, but we still have to vote on them, and we have to vote on them in a public meeting. And so we invite anybody to come. We had a couple folks last night came to our meeting. First time they had been in a long time, and they just wanted to come see what was going on and be a part of our county meeting. And so we invite anybody to come and be a part of the meeting and learn what your county government's doing.
And I'm going to invite folks again. Randy, you did this last month. If you have a question that Randy can answer, or between the two of us we can find an answer to, we would be happy to answer it. You can email it to me at pcounts@caldwellcountync.org, and we'll be happy to find you an answer. Yeah,
and we'd love to be able to talk about that. If there's some burning issue that somebody has and we could come in and talk about it, we would welcome that opportunity.
Or even I heard this.
Right.
Is that true?
That's right.
We would be happy to answer, yes, it's true, or no, that's not exactly the truth. So. That's
right. So, but we do appreciate our residents and everybody that has a part in our county and our employees, and we just can't emphasize enough how much that we appreciate the opportunity.
Randy, thank you for being here, and I look forward to talking to you again next month.
All right. Thank you, Paige.
And thank you for watching Chairman's Corner.